There are whispers in the silence, messages hidden in the rhythm of your life, and divine signals sent to awaken you. But the question remains, are you truly listening? God is speaking to you, always has been, always will be, not in a voice that shakes the heavens, but in ways so profound, so intricately woven into your existence, that only a heart tuned to the unseen can perceive them. One sign is the persistent thought, the idea that will not leave you alone. It comes when you are still, when you are busy, when you are neither here nor there, yet it remains. It presses upon you, not in fear, but in a knowing. It is the gentle touch of divinity nudging you towards your destiny. What you dwell upon, what continuously returns to your awareness, is not by accident. It is the whisper of the infinite within you, guiding you toward what you were always meant to become. Then there is the closed door. You have tried, you have pushed, you have insisted, yet the path is blocked. The human mind calls it failure, but the soul recognizes it as redirection. God's voice is often heard in the silence of rejection, in the unanswered prayers that shield you from what was never meant for you. When one door closes, it is because another has already been prepared, waiting for you to align with it. To fight against what is being removed is to resist the greater blessing that is making its way toward you. You will notice the shift in your emotions, the sudden clarity in your soul. One moment you are lost in confusion, and then, without warning, peace washes over you. It is not from you, but through you, a divine assurance that settles in your heart, even when nothing around you has changed. The outer world may still be uncertain, but the inner world knows. That peace is not ordinary. It is the voice of God saying, "Be still, I am with you." People enter your life as messengers. Sometimes a stranger says exactly what you needed to hear, as if the words were crafted just for you. Other times a friend, unaware of your struggle, offers a truth so precise that it shatters your doubts. Do you think this is coincidence? No. God speaks through the voices of others, through the books that find you at the right moment, through the lessons you never expected to receive. Every encounter is divinely orchestrated, every word a clue leading you closer to your awakening. And then there is the final sign, the deep, undeniable knowing. It is beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond the physical senses. It does not argue, it does not plead, it simply is. A certainty that cannot be explained, only experienced. It tells you to step forward when fear tells you to retreat. It tells you to trust when reason demands proof. That knowing is the voice of the Creator within you, revealing the path before you. God is speaking through the thoughts that persist, through the doors that close, through the peace that floods your soul, through the messengers that appear, through the knowing that cannot be shaken. The question is not whether He is speaking. The question is, are you listening? There are whispers in the silence, messages hidden in the rhythm of your life, and divine signals sent to awaken you. But the question remains, are you truly listening? God is speaking to you, always has been, always will be, not in a voice that shakes the heavens, but in ways so profound, so intricately woven into your existence, that only a heart tuned to the unseen can perceive them. One sign is the persistent thought, the idea that will not leave you alone. It comes when you are still, when you are busy, when you are neither here nor there, yet it remains. It presses upon you, not in fear, but in a knowing. It is the gentle touch of divinity nudging you towards your destiny. What you dwell upon, what continuously returns to your awareness, is not by accident. It is the whisper of the infinite within you, guiding you toward what you were always meant to become. Then there is the closed door. You have tried, you have pushed, you have insisted, yet the path is blocked. The human mind calls it failure, but the soul recognizes it as redirection. God's voice is often heard in the silence of rejection, in the unanswered prayers that shield you from what was never meant for you. When one door closes, it is because another has already been prepared, waiting for you to align with it. To fight against what is being removed is to resist the greater blessing that is making its way toward you. You will notice the shift in your emotions, the sudden clarity in your soul. One moment you are lost in confusion, and then, without warning, peace washes over you. It is not from you, but through you, a divine assurance that settles in your heart, even when nothing around you has changed. The outer world may still be uncertain, but the inner world knows. That peace is not ordinary. It is the voice of God saying, "Be still, I am with you." People enter your life as messengers. Sometimes a stranger says exactly what you needed to hear, as if the words were crafted just for you. Other times a friend, unaware of your struggle, offers a truth so precise that it shatters your doubts. Do you think this is coincidence? No. God speaks through the voices of others, through the books that find you at the right moment, through the lessons you never expected to receive. Every encounter is divinely orchestrated, every word a clue leading you closer to your awakening. And then there is the final sign, the deep, undeniable knowing. It is beyond logic, beyond reason, beyond the physical senses. It does not argue, it does not plead, it simply is. A certainty that cannot be explained, only experienced. It tells you to step forward when fear tells you to retreat. It tells you to trust when reason demands proof. That knowing is the voice of the Creator within you, revealing the path before you. There are no accidents, only divine timing. What appears to be delay is, in truth, preparation. The soul knows what the mind cannot yet understand. You are being positioned, shaped, made ready for what is already written. Every moment of doubt, every question, every detour is part of a grand design that you are living out in real time. You are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are being guided even when you do not see the way. The language of God is subtle yet unmistakable. It is the feeling that rises in your chest when something is right. It is the discomfort that urges you to leave what no longer serves you. It is the invisible thread pulling you towards your higher self. The world may try to convince you that such things are coincidence, but deep within you know better. You have always known. There is a force at work beyond the physical, and it speaks to you constantly. The dreams that keep returning, the images that flash in your mind before they become real, the sudden insight that shifts your entire understanding. These are not random. They are divine revelations, glimpses of what is to come. God does not communicate through fear, nor does he use confusion. His voice is love, certainty, and truth. The more you trust, the more you will hear. The more you listen, the more you will be guided. The moment you align with divine wisdom, you will see the world respond in ways that defy logic. Doors will open effortlessly, people will appear at the right time, and events will unfold in perfect harmony. This is not luck. It is the power of faith in action. It is the fulfillment of a promise written before time began. You are not waiting on God. He is waiting on you to awaken to the truth that has always been. The signs will keep coming, not because God needs to prove himself, but because he is patient with those who are learning to listen. You do not need to beg for guidance. It is already here. You do not need to chase after signs. They will find you. What is required is not force, but faith. Faith that you are exactly where you need to be. Faith that what is meant for you will never miss you. Faith that when God speaks, your soul already knows the answer. When the same message reaches you in different ways, pay attention. When you feel something shift inside you, trust it. When you ask for a sign and receive it in ways you never expected, embrace it. The mind seeks proof, but the heart recognizes truth. God does not call you to a life of fear, but a life of faith. He does not show you glimpses of your destiny only to leave you wandering. Every sign is a thread in the greater tapestry of your purpose. Silence is often the loudest answer. When prayers seem unanswered, when doors remain closed, when the path is unclear, it is not abandonment, it is instruction. You are being taught to trust, to move beyond what is seen, to rely not on circumstances, but on conviction. The noise of the world can be deafening, but the voice of God is always present for those who choose to listen. Your reality is shaped not just by what you see, but by what you believe. God's voice is woven into your thoughts, your emotions, your experiences. It is not separate from you, it is within you. You are not alone in your search for answers. The answers are already written in the depths of your being. The moment you recognize that, the moment you surrender to that truth, is the moment everything begins to change. God is speaking through the thoughts that persist, through the doors that close, through the peace that floods your soul, through the messengers that appear, through the knowing that cannot be shaken. The question is not whether He is speaking. The question is, are you listening? God's voice is not confined to Scripture, nor does it belong solely to the past. It is alive, moving, and ever present, speaking in the depths of your consciousness. Every moment of stillness, every breath of intuition, every unshakable knowing, these are not your own thoughts alone. They are the whispers of the divine, the echoes of eternity, calling you to remember who you are. The problem is not that God is silent. The problem is that the world is too loud. There are messages written in your experiences, hidden in the unfolding of your days, waiting for you to recognize them. What you call coincidence, the divine calls precision. The encounters that seem random, the words spoken by strangers, the unplanned detours, each is a carefully placed puzzle piece in the grand design of your becoming. If only you would pause long enough to see, if only you would step back and allow the larger picture to emerge, you would realize that nothing in your life has ever been without meaning. Even your greatest struggles carry divine instruction. That situation you wish had never happened, that pain you would rather forget, within it there is something God is teaching you. Growth is not comfortable, and transformation rarely feels like a blessing while you are in it. But every lesson, no matter how painful, is an answer to a question your soul once asked. You may not remember asking, but the universe never forgets. God's guidance is not given in ways the human mind would always prefer, but it is given in ways the soul requires. There is a divine rhythm to your existence, an unseen pattern unfolding with mathematical perfection. Have you ever noticed how certain themes keep appearing in your life? The same types of people, the same opportunities, the same challenges, over and over again? That is not repetition, it is revelation. Until you take hold of what God is trying to show you, the lesson will continue appearing in different forms. He speaks through cycles, through patterns, through the persistent repetition of truth. When you finally grasp it, when you step into awareness, the cycle shifts and new doors appear. Many seek God in grand miracles, in thunder and fire, in signs and wonders. But He is also in the quiet, in the ordinary, in the moments so small that they are easily overlooked. The way the morning light filters through your window, the feeling of warmth in a loved one's embrace, the sudden inspiration that arises when you least expect it. These too are divine communications. There is no separation between the sacred and the mundane. The presence of God is infused in all things, waiting for you to recognize Him in the details of your own existence. You were never meant to walk this path blindly. You were given the gift of divine intuition, the ability to sense what cannot yet be seen. Every time you ignore that inner voice, every time you silence the knowing in your heart, you later realized it was right all along. This is because it was never merely your own wisdom, it was the voice of God within you. He does not shout over your distractions, nor does He force you to listen. His voice is steady, unwavering, always present, but it is up to you to attune yourself to it. There is no randomness in the way signs appear. Have you ever thought of someone and then within moments they call or message you? Have you been searching for clarity only to stumble upon a book, a speech, a passage that speaks directly to your situation? Have you ever prayed for an answer and received it in a way you could never have anticipated? This is not accident. This is alignment. God is always speaking, but most miss it because they expect the message to come in the way they imagine rather than the way it is divinely given. The world teaches you to doubt what cannot be proven, to dismiss what cannot be seen. But faith is not about seeing first. It is about knowing first. When God speaks, He does not explain Himself in the language of human logic. He speaks in the language of faith, in the currency of belief, in the certainty that precedes evidence. This is why so many miss His voice, because they demand to see before they believe. But the truth is, you must believe first, and then you will see. The moment you stop looking with your physical eyes and begin perceiving with your inner vision, the messages will become unmistakable. You are never truly lost, even in seasons of silence, when you feel abandoned, when you are unsure of the path ahead. God has not left you. The silence itself is an answer. It is a call to trust, to listen more deeply, to prepare for what is already on its way. The space between the question and the answer is not emptiness, it is preparation. You are being readied, molded, refined. If the answer has not yet appeared, it is only because you are still being positioned to receive it. There is a divine order in everything, even in delay, even in detours. What you think of as wasted time is often the most essential part of the journey. The moments when nothing seems to be happening, when the heavens seem silent, are the moments when you are being strengthened in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Patience is not merely waiting, it is trust in action. It is the deep assurance that what is yours is already moving toward you, even when you cannot yet see it. God is speaking. He always has been. Through the closed doors that protect you, through the desires that will not leave your heart, through the peace that surpasses understanding, through the voices of strangers who unknowingly deliver messages meant for you, through the knowing that rises within you, even when circumstances contradict it. You do not need to ask for more signs, they are already present. You do not need to beg for guidance, it is already given. What you need is stillness, awareness, and faith. When you trust what you feel more than what you see, when you listen to the whispers more than the noise, when you follow the pull of the unseen rather than the demands of the visible, you will find that God has been speaking all along. The question has never been whether He is speaking. The question is, are you listening? The voice of God is never absent. It is ever present, woven into the fabric of your being, calling you back to the truth of who you are. It is not something external, not something separate from you. It is the still, small voice within, the deep knowing that rises unbidden, the unshakable certainty that speaks when logic fails. You were never designed to wander in confusion, to be lost in doubt. The Creator has placed within you an eternal compass, a divine whisper that, if followed, will lead you unfailingly to your purpose. The question is not whether God is speaking, but whether you have learned to recognize His voice amid the noise of the world. You may think that if God were speaking, it would be loud, undeniable, impossible to ignore. But His voice does not always come in the way you expect. It is not always a burning bush, a parting sea, or a thunderous proclamation. More often it is a gentle nudge, a quiet prompting, a door that suddenly opens, or just as importantly, one that closes. It is the moment you hesitate before making a wrong decision, the inexplicable feeling that keeps you from going down a certain path. It is the words of a friend that strike deeper than they should, the passage of a book that answers a question you never voiced aloud. It is the dream that lingers, the thought that will not leave you alone, the moment of peace in the midst of chaos. You have already heard Him many times, but you have dismissed His voice as mere coincidence, as wishful thinking, as the product of your own imagination. The mind seeks to rationalize, to explain away what the Spirit instinctively knows, but deep down, in the stillness of your heart, you have felt it. You have known when something was meant for you, when a path was divinely aligned, when a lesson was unfolding before you. The signs were there. They have always been there. God speaks through your circumstances, through the unfolding events of your life. He is in the delay that frustrates you, in the redirection that confuses you, in the endings that you do not understand. When a door closes, it is not rejection, it is protection. When a plan falls apart, it is not failure, it is alignment. But you may not see it yet, but if you were to look back, you would realize that every detour, every seeming setback, every unanswered prayer was in fact an answered prayer in disguise. The hand of God is always moving, even when you cannot perceive it. He speaks through divine timing, through the perfect orchestration of events that no human hand could arrange. Have you ever found yourself in the right place at the right time? Have you ever received what you needed just when you needed it? Have you ever met someone who changed the course of your life in a way you could not have predicted? This is not luck. This is not chance. This is divine order. Even the smallest details of your life are aligned with precision beyond your comprehension. When you learn to trust this, to surrender to the flow of divine timing, you will find yourself walking in effortless alignment, no longer fighting against the current, but moving with it. He speaks through your intuition, through the inner knowing that does not rely on external proof. That feeling that something is off, that quiet whisper that urges you to move in a certain direction, this is His voice. The world may tell you to ignore it, to rely only on what can be seen and measured, but faith does not operate by human reasoning. Faith moves in the unseen, trusts in what is felt before it is proven. When you listen to your intuition, you are listening to the divine. The more you trust it, the louder it becomes. The more you ignore it, the quieter it seems. Not because it is left, but because you have tuned it out. God speaks through your desires, through the longings He has placed in your heart. That dream that refuses to die, that vision that stirs something deep within you, this is not random. It was placed within you for a reason. What God calls you to, He equips you for. If the desire is there, so is the way. But He will not force it upon you. He will only invite you to step into it. The path to your purpose is one of faith, one of trust, one of listening to the voice within that tells you to keep going, even when nothing makes sense yet. He speaks through your emotions, through the peace that comes when you are on the right path, through the discomfort that signals when you are not. There is a reason why certain choices bring you joy and others leave you restless. There is a reason why certain people uplift you while others drain you. God has given you an internal guidance system, a way of knowing what is meant for you and what is not. When something is aligned, there is peace, even in uncertainty. When something is not, there is resistance, a heaviness that does not lift, a sense of struggle that does not ease. This is divine communication. Do not ignore it. He speaks through repetition, through the same message appearing in different ways until you finally hear it. When the same lesson keeps showing up in your life, when the same challenge presents itself over and over again, it is not by accident. It is God teaching you, shaping you, refining you. Until you receive the lesson, it will continue appearing in different forms. But once you recognize it, once you shift your perception and respond differently, the cycle breaks and new doors open. He speaks through stillness, through the quiet moments when you are finally able to hear. This is why the world is filled with distractions, why noise is constant, because if you were to truly be still, if you were to silence the outer chaos, you would hear Him clearly. In the stillness there is clarity. In the stillness there is wisdom. If you feel disconnected, if you feel unsure, it is not because God has stopped speaking. It is because you have allowed too much noise to drown Him out. Return to silence and you will find Him there. The messages are all around you. They always have been. There is no such thing as an unanswered prayer, only an unseen answer. There is no such thing as divine absence, only a failure to perceive His presence. What you seek is already seeking you. What you long to hear is already being spoken. The more you attune yourself to His voice, the more unmistakable it becomes. The signs are not missing. The alignment is not distant. It is here, now, waiting for you to recognize it. The question is not whether God is speaking. The question is, are you listening? The voice of God is persistent, unwavering, and ever present. It does not fade, nor does it retreat, but it waits. It waits for your recognition, for your willingness to trust in something beyond what the eyes can see. The greatest tragedy is not that God does not speak, but that so many refuse to listen. They demand signs, yet dismiss the very ones placed before them. They seek answers, but disregard the whispers in their hearts. They look for miracles, but fail to recognize the divine hand orchestrating their lives in perfect order. You have felt it. You have known moments when something beyond your understanding was guiding you, when circumstances aligned too perfectly to be mere coincidence. Yet, doubt creeps in. The mind, conditioned to question the unseen, convinces you that you imagined it. But what if you did not? What if every so-called coincidence was a carefully woven thread in the divine tapestry of your life? What if the urges, the intuitions, the repeated messages were never random at all, but intentional? God speaks through divine disruptions. When everything you planned unravels, when the path you were so sure of suddenly vanishes, when doors close without explanation, these are not accidents. These are divine interventions. The human mind perceives loss as failure, but the spirit understands that God removes what no longer serves you. He shifts you, redirects you, places you in positions you would not have chosen, but that are necessary for your growth. You cry over lost opportunities, not realizing that God is protecting you from the very thing you thought you wanted. You resist change, not knowing that where He is taking you is far greater than where you have been. You are never being punished, you are being positioned. What seems like rejection is redirection. What feels like abandonment is alignment. The delays, the detours, the disruptions, they are all part of the plan. You may not understand it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every unanswered prayer was actually an answered prayer in disguise. God's silence is never truly silence. It is a shift, a moment of preparation before the revelation. God speaks through the desires of your heart, that dream that refuses to leave you, that vision that keeps resurfacing, that deep longing that no amount of logic can suppress. This is not by accident. The desires placed within you are not random. They are divine instructions. What you seek is seeking you. The vision you carry is proof that it is possible. You were not given dreams to be tormented by their impossibility, but to awaken to their inevitability. The only requirement is faith. Faith is not just believing in what you cannot see. It is acting as if it is already yours. It is walking in certainty before the evidence appears. It is speaking as if it is already done. It is aligning your thoughts, your words, and your actions with the knowing that if God placed it in your heart, it is already written in your destiny. Doubt is the only thing that delays it. Fear is the only thing that obstructs it. The moment you surrender fully, the moment you stop questioning whether you are worthy of what you desire, the floodgates open. God speaks through discomfort, the unease you feel in certain situations, the restlessness that will not subside, the sense that you are meant for more. This is divine communication. Discomfort is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is shifting. It is the soul's way of telling you that you have outgrown where you are. What once felt comfortable now feels restrictive. What once fulfilled you now leaves you empty. What once trusted you now leaves you empty. What once fulfilled you now leaves you empty. This is God's way of nudging you toward transformation. Growth is not supposed to be comfortable. If you never feel stretched, if you never feel called to more, you are not listening. You may try to resist it. You may try to remain where it feels safe, where it feels familiar. But the voice of God will not allow you to stay where you no longer belong. The discomfort will grow stronger. The signs will become more apparent. And if you still refuse to move, you will move you. You were not created to remain stagnant. You were not designed to live beneath your potential. The Spirit within you knows this, and it will continue to call you higher. God speaks through divine connections, the people who enter your life at the right moment, the unexpected conversations that shift your perspective, the mentors and guides who appear just when you need them. This is not chance. The universe rearranges itself in response to your spiritual alignment. When you are ready, the right people will come. When you are open, the right opportunities will reveal themselves, but you must recognize them when they appear. Too often, people pray for a sign but reject the very answer that is sent to them. They expect God to work in one way, and when He moves differently, they fail to see His hand at work. The lesson is this: do not be so attached to how you think it should happen that you miss how it is actually happening. Divine encounters do not always come in the form you expect. Be open, stay present. When the right connection is made, you will know. It will feel effortless, aligned, divinely timed. God speaks through the breaking. The moments of despair, the seasons of isolation, the times when everything seems to be crumbling, this is where transformation begins. It is in the breaking that the old self dies and the true self is revealed. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation. The suffering is not meaningless. It is refinement. The breaking is not the end, it is the beginning. You have been asking for strength, so He is teaching you resilience. You have been asking for wisdom, so He is allowing you to experience growth. You have been asking for faith, so He is placing you in situations where you have no choice but to trust. Every challenge is an answer to a prayer you once prayed. Do not resist the process. Lean into it. Trust that what feels like an ending is actually the making of something new. God speaks in the silence. In a world filled with noise, with distractions, with constant movement, it is in the stillness that His voice becomes clearest. This is why silence feels uncomfortable for many. Because in the quiet, the soul is exposed. The fears, the doubts, the truths we try to avoid rise to the surface. But this is where God meets you. Not in the chaos, not in the distractions, but in the quiet spaces of your heart. If you want to hear Him, be still. If you want answers, listen. Everything you need to know is already within you. The answers you seek, the direction you long for, it is all there. The voice of God is not something you have to search for, it is something you have to attune yourself to. The more you listen, the clearer it becomes. The more you trust, the more evident His presence is. There is no separation between you and the divine. You were created from it, you are sustained by it, and you will always be connected to it. The signs are there, the voice is speaking, the guidance is constant. You are not waiting for God, He is waiting for you. Waiting for you to trust, waiting for you to listen, waiting for you to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. The question has never been whether He is speaking. The question has always been, are you listening? God does not stop speaking simply because you refuse to listen. His voice does not fade into silence just because you allow the noise of the world to drown it out. The divine presence is constant, unwavering, ever near. Yet the human mind, conditioned by years of doubt and distraction, often ignores the whispers of the Spirit. You ask for signs, yet you walk past them every day. You seek answers, yet you dismiss the very thoughts and feelings that rise within you. The truth is not hidden from you. It has been speaking all along. The question is not whether God is talking to you, but whether you have silenced yourself enough to hear. Everything in your life is a message. The delays, the disappointments, the redirections, none of them are random. The people who enter and exit your life, the moments of synchronicity, the unexpected opportunities, they are all divine signals, pointing you in the direction you are meant to go. But instead of trusting the unfolding, you question it. You resist what does not fit your expectations. You cling to what is falling apart. You try to force open doors that were never meant for you. And when the path does not look the way you imagined, you assume God is silent, but He is not. He is speaking in every shift, every closed door, every redirection. You must trust that if something is being removed, it is only because something greater is on the way. How many times have you felt an unshakable knowing deep within, yet allowed fear to talk you out of it? That sudden urge to move, to act, to speak, to change, that was not your imagination. It was divine instruction. But instead of obeying, you hesitated, you questioned, you let doubt convince you that it was just a fleeting thought. Yet the moment you chose not to listen, you felt the weight of regret. The inner voice, the one that tells you to take that leap, to leave that situation, to step into something new, it is not there to mislead you. It is the voice of God, guiding you, directing you, preparing you. The more you ignore it, the quieter it seems. But the truth is, it never stops speaking. It is you who must become still enough to hear it. God speaks through patterns. Have you noticed how the same lessons keep appearing in your life? The same struggles, the same challenges, the same repeated cycles. This is not coincidence. It is divine instruction. Life will keep presenting the same lesson until you finally learn what God is trying to teach you. The pain you continue to experience is not there to break you. The situations that seem to keep happening are not a sign of punishment, but of unfinished growth. You ask why things are not changing, but God is asking why you have not yet listened. The moment you finally grasp the lesson, the moment you shift your mindset, the moment you choose to see differently, the cycle ends. Everything in creation is aligned with divine order. The sun does not question whether it should rise, the ocean does not resist the pull of the tide, the trees do not fear the change of seasons. Yet humans, gifted with the ability to create, to dream, to manifest, allow fear to paralyze them. You were never meant to struggle in uncertainty. The voice of God within you is not one of confusion, but of clarity. It does not whisper fear, but faith. It does not plant seeds of doubt, but of divine assurance. If you feel uncertain, it is not because the path is unclear. It is because you have clouded your own mind with hesitation. The moment you let go of the need to control, the moment you surrender the fear of the unknown, everything will align in ways you never imagined. God speaks through the unexpected, the chance meeting that changes your life, the words of a stranger that answer the question you never voiced, the book that falls into your hands at just the right moment. These are not random occurrences. They are divine appointments. The people who enter your life, even briefly, are there for a reason. Some to teach you, some to awaken you, some to remind you of who you truly are. But are you paying attention? Are you recognizing the messengers when they arrive, or are you dismissing them because they do not look the way you expected? Be open to how God moves. He does not always come in thunder and fire. Sometimes He comes in whispers, in nudges, in the smallest of moments that, when connected, reveal a masterpiece far greater than you could have ever imagined. God speaks through restlessness, that feeling that you are meant for more, that deep knowing that where you are is not where you are supposed to stay, that stirring in your spirit that refuses to let you settle. This is not dissatisfaction, it is divine urging. You were not created for mediocrity, you were not designed to simply exist. The vision placed within you is proof of its own fulfillment. God does not give dreams without also giving you the power to bring them to life. But too many ignore the calling. They stay in situations that no longer serve them. They allow fear to keep them trapped in the comfort of the familiar. Yet the restlessness remains. It does not go away. It is God's way of reminding you that there is more. But here is the truth many do not want to face. The opportunity will not always wait. If you refuse to move when you are called, the door will eventually close. Not as punishment, but as a lesson that hesitation has consequences. A lesson that ignoring the signs does not make them disappear. A lesson that faith without action is meaningless. When you feel the calling, answer it. When the door opens, walk through it. When the inner voice tells you it is time, trust it. There will never be a perfect time. There will never be a moment when all fear disappears. The only way forward is to step forward. even when you do not have all the answers. God speaks in stillness. The world is loud. The distractions are endless. The noise of doubt, of worry, of external voices telling you who you should be drowns out the only voice that matters. This is why so many struggle to hear Him. They fill every moment with noise, with busyness, with thoughts of the past and anxieties about the future. But God is found in the present, in the quiet moments when you silence your mind and simply be. When was the last time you sat in stillness? When was the last time you allowed yourself to simply listen, not to the world, not to your fears, but to the presence within you that has been waiting for you to notice? The answers you seek are already within. The guidance you long for has already been given. God is not distant. He is not silent. He is here now, always. But He will not force you to listen. He will not compete for your attention. It is you who must choose to hear. It is you who must recognize the signs. It is you who must trust that what you feel, what you know, what you see aligning in your life is not coincidence. It is divine communication. The question has never been whether God is speaking. The question has always been, are you listening? If you have been waiting for a sign, this is it. If you have been asking if God is speaking to you, He has been all along. The signs are not hidden. They are woven into the fabric of your life, appearing in moments of restlessness, in unexpected encounters, in the deep knowing within you that refuses to be ignored. But it is not enough to recognize them. You must respond. You must trust that the voice within you is leading you exactly where you are meant to go. Do not let fear silence what God has already confirmed in your spirit. Do not dismiss the lessons that keep repeating. Do not ignore the still, small voice that nudges you towards something greater. The answers are not out there. They are within you. The path has been laid, the signs have been given, the call has been made. The only question left is, will you listen? Your trials were never meant to break you. They were not a sign of failure, nor were they proof of your unworthiness. Every moment of struggle, every sleepless night, every tear that fell in silence was a divine arrangement, a preparation for something far greater than you could have imagined. You did not come into this world to be defeated, to wander aimlessly in sorrow, or to believe that your suffering is endless. No, you were being shaped, refined, prepared for a transformation so great that when it arrives, you will look back and understand why you had to endure what you did. The world teaches lack, but the Spirit knows abundance. The world teaches doubt, but your soul knows faith. Your trials whispered lies to you, telling you that you would never rise, that you would remain stuck in that place of hardship forever. But that was never the truth. The truth is that every difficulty was a test, a molding of your character, a strengthening of your faith. You were being prepared to receive something beyond your understanding. God's millionaire blessings, not just in wealth but in wisdom, love, and divine favor. Do you not see how the trials refined you? How they made you stronger, more resilient, more aware of who you truly are? The world may have called them misfortunes, but heaven called them preparations. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. Positioned for the overflow, positioned for greatness, positioned for a manifestation so miraculous that you would be unable to explain it by human means. Thirdly, every struggle you faced was designed to shift your perception, to cleanse you of doubt, and to elevate your consciousness to a level where you could finally receive the blessings that were always yours. Nothing was ever taken from you. It was simply being rearranged, refined, and multiplied so that when it returns, it comes back pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Faith does not ask you to beg. It asks you to believe. It asks you to stand in the certainty that the God who allowed the trial is the same God who delivers the reward. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are standing at the threshold of divine abundance, and what is coming to you now is beyond anything you have ever known. The pain was real. You endured so that you could receive, and now it is your time. You were never meant to live in struggle. You were never meant to dwell in lack. The trials you endured were only a shadow, a passing illusion meant to awaken you to a deeper truth. What if every hardship was a divine setup? What if every door that closed was simply redirecting you to something far greater? You were never denied, only rerouted, only prepared. The suffering was not an end, but a bridge, carrying you to the fulfillment of a promise made before you even entered this world. You see, God does not withhold blessings. It is never a question of whether you are worthy, but whether you are ready. And your trials made you ready. They stripped away doubt. They removed the old self that clung to fear and hesitation. They revealed the strength that was already within you. Every tear was counted, every silent prayer heard. The delays, the disappointments, the moments where you thought nothing would change, none of it was wasted. Everything was aligning, shifting, orchestrating itself in divine perfection. Now the time of waiting is over. The time of wondering, of questioning, of feeling forgotten is ending. You are stepping into the manifestation of what was always yours, not by force, not by struggle, but by divine right. The blessings that are unfolding in your life now are not just a reward for endurance. They are proof that you have finally become the person who can receive them. Before, you may have doubted your own worthiness. You may have questioned if you were truly meant to live in abundance, in overflow, in divine favor. But those thoughts no longer belong to you. You are no longer the person who struggled to believe. You are no longer the person who looked at obstacles and saw defeat. Now you see differently. Now you know differently. The trials you endured did not weaken you, they awakened you. They removed every illusion of limitation. They burned away every false belief that told you that you were separate from God's infinite abundance. And now as you step forward, you no longer beg for blessings. You recognize that they were already yours. Look at your life now with new eyes. See beyond what the physical world has told you. You are not bound by circumstances. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are walking in divine alignment. You are moving in the flow of favor, of grace, of supernatural provision. You do not chase blessings. Blessings are drawn to you. You do not struggle for success. Success unfolds effortlessly in your presence. What you once prayed for in desperation now finds you with ease. The shift has already happened. What once seemed distant is now near. The struggle was never your destiny. You were always meant to rise, to flourish, to step into a level of abundance so great that it overflows into the lives of others. And now, as you embrace the fullness of what is yours, you no longer doubt, you no longer wait, you simply receive. You receive not as one who is uncertain, not as one who fears it may slip away, but as one who knows beyond all doubt that what is given by divine hands can never be taken. You receive as one who understands that lack was never real, that limitation was only a lesson, that every trial was simply a passageway to your rightful inheritance. You were never waiting for God's blessings. God's blessings were waiting for you to see, to awaken, to become. And now you walk differently. There is no hesitation in your step, no questioning in your heart. You move with the confidence of one who has already arrived. The struggle is no longer your story. The days of barely getting by are no longer your reality. You have entered into a new season, a new consciousness, a new awareness where favor is not something distant, but something as natural as the air you breathe. The very strong faith you have that your favor has always been. You do not force, you do not chase, you do not doubt. You understand now that what is meant for you flows to you, not through effort, not through worry, but through alignment. You no longer pray as one who is separate from abundance, but as one who is one with it. You no longer plead with God for blessings, because you know that God's will for you has always been increase, expansion, and overflow. Every delay you once mourned, every closed door you once questioned, now reveals itself as divine wisdom. What you thought was rejection was protection. What you thought was loss was preparation. Everything has worked for your good. Everything has led you here. And now you stand in the reality of answered prayers, not as a beggar, but as an heir. Not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Your trials never defined you, they refined you. They stripped away everything that was too small for the life you were meant to live. You were never meant to live in scarcity. You were never meant to live in doubt. You were never meant to question your worth. You were created for this moment, for this realization, for this expansion into the fullness of what has always been yours. And now you lift your head and you see clearly. Now you step forward and you move with certainty. Now you open your hands and you receive without fear. The time of struggle has ended. The season of lack is over. You have stepped into a new reality, a divine truth, a life where abundance is not something you wait for, it is something you embody. It is something you have always been destined to experience. For there, in this cave, you have found not reality, but in the truth, a vibrational connection to infinite. You no longer cling to the past, for the past was merely the shaping of the vessel. The fire you walked through was not meant to destroy you, but to refine you, to burn away every false belief, every doubt, every fear that kept you small. The weight you carried, the burdens you bore, the nights when you whispered prayers into the darkness, all of it was seen. Not a single tear was lost. Not a single moment of pain was wasted. Everything was recorded in the unseen, preparing the way for the blessing that now stands before you. And now you recognize that you were never without. Even in the moments when your hands felt empty, even in the seasons where doors seemed to close, even when you felt forgotten, heaven was moving. Heaven was rearranging, orchestrating, aligning every event, every delay, every hardship, so that when your blessing arrived, you would not just receive it, you would be prepared for it. You would be able to hold it, to sustain it, to multiply it. The tests were necessary not as punishment, but as preparation. You were never meant to merely survive, you were meant to thrive. You were never meant to scrape by in desperation, waiting for miracles. You were meant to stand in the certainty that miracles surround you, that favor is your natural state, that abundance is your inheritance. No longer do you look at your life through the lens of struggle. No longer do you wonder if you are enough. You know now that you have always been enough, that you have always been worthy, that the trials were never proof of your weakness but of your strength. The shift has already happened. The tide has already turned. The very things you once prayed for in whispers will now flood into your life with unstoppable force. What once seemed distant is now at your door. What once seemed impossible is now your reality. You have stepped into a flow where blessings find you effortlessly, where opportunities unfold without struggle, where favor surrounds you like a shield. You do not need to ask how or when, for you understand now that divine timing is never late, never rushed, always perfect. Everything arrives exactly as it should, exactly when you are ready to receive it. You are no longer waiting, you are walking in it. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. The unseen is becoming seen. The promises are becoming tangible, and you, the one who once wondered if the struggle would ever end, are now stepping fully into the life that was always meant for you. You no longer question whether you are deserving, for you see now that you were chosen long before you ever faced a single obstacle. The trials were never a sign that you were forgotten. They were the proof that you were being shaped for something greater than you could have imagined. Every season of waiting, every moment of uncertainty, every door that seemed to remain shut was never meant to discourage you. It was meant to prepare you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. You were not being delayed, you were being refined. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. The tests were not to break you, but to make you unshakable. They were building within you a strength, a faith, a certainty that cannot be moved by circumstances, that cannot be swayed by temporary setbacks. And now you see clearly. You understand that the waiting was never wasted time. It was the foundation upon which your blessings would stand. You shall stand as a return. And now abundance flows to you in ways you could never have forced, in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. The blessings are not coming, they are here. They are appearing not through struggle, not through effort, but through alignment. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. You are no longer chasing, you are attracting. What once felt far away now feels natural, effortless, inevitable. You do not need to convince yourself any longer, for you have seen the evidence. You have walked through the fire and emerged untouched. You have endured the storm and now stand beneath an open heaven. You no longer see lack, for you understand that there was never any lack, only a temporary illusion that blinded you to the fullness of what was already yours. Now your eyes are open. Now your heart is ready. Now your hands stretch forth, not in desperation, but in expectation. Everything is aligning. Every blessing that was prepared for you before time began is now being released. Not because you fought harder, not because you proved yourself, but because you finally stepped into the awareness that it was always yours. And as you embrace this truth, as you walk in this knowing, you will see miracles unfold, not as something rare, but as something natural. You will see doors open, not with force, but with ease. You will see favor chase you down, not because you struggle for it, but because it is your divine inheritance. You are no longer waiting, you are no longer hoping, you are standing in the promise, walking in the manifestation, living in the overflow. Everything that was once uncertain is now undeniable. Everything that was once delayed is now arriving. The trials were the test, but now the blessings are the testimony. The preparation is complete. The season has shifted. The abundance has begun. You stand now in the reality of all that was promised, not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew deep within that this moment would come. The trials that once seemed like barriers were never meant to stop you. They were only there to prove to you what was already within you. The resilience, the faith, the unwavering knowing that you were created for more. You have looked at life through the eyes of lack, through the lens of struggle, but now you see with new vision. You see that everything was unfolding exactly as it needed to, that nothing was ever truly lost, that even the moments of pain were working for your elevation. The suffering did not define you, it revealed you. It stripped away doubt, broke apart fear, and left behind only the unshakable truth that you were never alone, never forgotten, never without the favor of divine hands upon your life. And now you walk into this new season without hesitation, without apology, without fear. You do not ask if you are worthy, for you know now that you are always worthy. You do not shrink in doubt, for you have seen how every moment of uncertainty was transformed into evidence of divine provision. You do not question if this is real, for you have felt the shift within you, the awakening, the deep certainty that abundance is not something you earn, it is something you awaken to. The past no longer holds you. The memories of struggle do not bind you. You do not carry the weight of what was, for you understand now that it was only the foundation for what is. You no longer replay the moments of hardship, for they no longer define you. The suffering was not your identity. The lack was not your destiny. You see now that even in the wilderness, you were being guided. Even in the waiting, you are being strengthened. And now, the season of waiting is over. You are not stepping into favor. You are realizing that favor was always yours. You are not receiving a blessing. You are becoming aware that the blessing was never withheld. The divine does not give in pieces, does not delay out of reluctance, does not withhold out of judgment. The divine only waits until you are ready, until you can see clearly, until you can step into the fullness of your inheritance, without fear, without hesitation, without disbelief. The moment you stopped questioning, the moment you stopped doubting, the moment you embraced the truth that abundance was always within your reach, the shift happened. What you once begged for now appears effortlessly. What once seemed impossible now unfolds before you with ease. What once felt distant now feels familiar, as if it had been waiting for you all along, waiting for you to awaken, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to realize that the power to receive was always in your hands. As you move forward, you do so with a new understanding, a new awareness, a new certainty. You no longer chase, you no longer plead, you no longer ask from a place of desperation. You declare, you expect, you walk in the knowing that every resource you need, every opportunity meant for you, every door designed to open, is already aligned in your favor. The moment you surrendered the struggle, the moment you released the need to force, the moment you trusted that the divine plan was always for your expansion, everything shifted. You have not been forgotten, you have not been overlooked, you have not been passed by. The trials were not the end of your story. The struggle was not the conclusion. The waiting was not a punishment. Everything was working in divine order, leading you here, shaping you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. And now, as the blessings pour in, as the opportunities arise, as the abundance flows, you do not question if it is real. You do not wonder if it will last. You do not fear that it will be taken away. You have been prepared for this. You have been strengthened for this. You have been positioned for this. Every battle you fought, every night you prayed, every moment you refused to give up, all of it has led you to this moment, this revelation, this undeniable truth that lack was never real, that delay was never denial, that everything you have ever needed has always been within you, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to say, it is done. And now you move differently. The weight of the past is no longer on your shoulders. The mindset of struggle is no longer your reality. You do not think like one who is waiting. You think like one who has arrived. You do not speak like one who is uncertain. You speak like one who knows. The words you once spoke in hesitation, you now declare with power. The prayers you once whispered in doubt, you now proclaim with certainty. The life you once dreamed of, you now live with boldness, with confidence, with the full awareness that it was never a matter of if, it was only a matter of when. The doors that once seemed closed now open before you effortlessly. The resources you once longed for now flow to you without resistance. The opportunities that once fell beyond your reach now find you with divine precision. There is no struggle in this season. There is no delay. There is no hesitation. Everything is aligning. Everything is manifesting. Everything is unfolding exactly as it was meant to, and you stand in the center of it. Not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew. You no longer question whether you are ready, for you have been prepared. You no longer wonder if it is possible, for you see now that it was always destined. You no longer fear that it will be taken away, for you understand that what is given by divine hands is never lost, never diminished, never stolen. It only grows, it only expands, it only increases. And you, the one who once doubted, the one who once struggled, the one who once feared it would never come, now stand in the fullness of all that was promised, all that was prepared, all that has always been yours. You have entered into a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of receiving. No longer bound by the limitations of the past, no longer held back by the beliefs of lack, no longer waiting for permission to step into what has always been your divine right. You walk now with the confidence of one who knows, with the certainty of one who sees, with the faith of one who has already received. And as you move forward, you do so without looking back, without carrying the weight of what was, without allowing the shadows of the past to follow you into this new reality. The struggle is over, the waiting has ended, the time of uncertainty is past. You are in the season of overflow, the season of divine abundance, the season where you no longer hope for blessings, you walk in them. You no longer reach for favor, you embody it. You no longer wonder if your trials had meaning. You know now that they were only the bridge to something greater, something destined, something unstoppable. And so you step forward, not as one who is uncertain, not as one who is hesitant, but as one who is fully awake, fully aware, fully aligned with the truth that you were never meant to struggle, never meant to lack, never meant to wonder if you were worthy. You were always meant for more. You were always meant to rise. You were always meant to receive. And now you do. You no longer carry the weight of waiting, the burden of questioning, the chains of uncertainty. You stand as one who has seen the power of persistence, the fulfillment of divine timing, the manifestation of all that was promised. The moment you stopped asking if it would come, the moment you believed beyond sight, the moment you trusted without conditions, everything shifted. There is no hesitation in your steps, no fear in your heart, no resistance in your spirit. You do not look to the past with sorrow, for you see now that it was all necessary. Every delay, every setback, every moment of silence was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. The trials were not a punishment, they were preparation. The waiting was not abandonment, it was alignment. And now as you step into the season that was always meant for you, you do so with the wisdom of one who understands. You understand now that blessings are not granted by effort alone, but by awareness. You understand that you never had to beg for what was already yours. You understand that the struggle was never to earn favor, but to realize you already carried it. And now you no longer approach life as one who must fight for abundance, but as one who walks in it naturally. The energy of lack has left you. The mindset of struggle has dissolved. The belief in limitations has disappeared. You have entered a new frequency, a new state of being, a new consciousness where everything flows effortlessly. The doors that once seemed impossible to open now swing wide before you. The wealth that once felt unreachable now follows you. The opportunities that once seemed reserved for others now seek you out. You have become magnetic to everything that aligns with the fullness of your purpose. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer doubt, you expect. You no longer wait, you receive. The abundance that surrounds you is not temporary. It is not fleeting. It is not something that can be taken away. It is yours because it was always meant for you. It is yours because it was already written. It is yours because you have aligned yourself with the divine truth that you were created for more. There is no need to grasp, no need to hold on in fear, no need to question whether it will last. The source from which it comes is infinite, and you are now connected to that infinite flow. Your trials have only increased your capacity. The challenges have only expanded your understanding. What once felt like struggle was only the stretching of your faith, the strengthening of your spirit, the preparation for a life far greater than you had imagined. And now that you have seen, now that you have experienced, now that you have stepped into the evidence of all that was promised, you can never go back. You can never shrink. You can never doubt again. There is a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of existing that is now yours. The days of questioning are over. The days of striving are over. The days of wondering when your time will come are over. The time is now. The blessings are here. The abundance is flowing. The vision you once carried in your heart is no longer a distant dream. It is yours. And as you walk forward, as you move in this new season, as you receive all that was always meant for you, you do so with confidence, with peace, with the absolute knowing that you were never forgotten, never overlooked, never abandoned. You were being prepared. You were being positioned. You were being refined. And now you are ready. Now you receive. Now you step fully into the millionaire blessings, into the divine overflow, into the limitless abundance that has always been your birthright. You do not step into this new reality as a stranger. It feels familiar because it was always yours. It was never outside of you, never distant, never beyond your reach. It was waiting for you to become the person who could hold it, who could carry it, who could live it fully. Every trial shaped you, every delay refined you, every setback taught you. You do not walk as one who stumbled into abundance by chance, but as one who was called, one who was chosen, one who was destined. My name is Irving. Look around you now. What once felt like lack has been replaced with overflow. What once felt like delay has revealed itself as divine timing. What once felt like rejection was protection, guidance, redirection towards something greater than you ever imagined. You no longer mourn what was lost because you understand now it was never meant to stay. The things that left, the doors that closed, the people who walked away were all part of a necessary unfolding. Had they remained, you would not have stepped into the fullness of this blessing. You no longer ask why it took so long. You no longer question why you had to struggle. You see now that nothing was wasted. No tear, no moment of frustration, no silent prayer in the darkness was ever in vain. Every single piece of your journey was building toward this moment. And now you stand in it, not as one who is surprised by the blessing, but as one who always knew it was coming. You never stopped believing, never stopped holding on to the vision, never let go of the promise, and now it is here. You have entered a new reality where effort is replaced with ease, where striving is replaced with flow, where struggle is replaced with grace. You do not have to force what is meant for you. You do not have to beg for what is already yours. You are no longer operating in the energy of lack, no longer thinking small, no longer living as though you are separate from your abundance. The wealth, the opportunities, the favor that now surround you were always meant for you. And now you have become the person who can hold them. There is no hesitation, no fear, no questioning whether you deserve it. You are walking in your inheritance. You are stepping into what was already written, already planned, already aligned in your favor. And as you move forward, you do so with the confidence of one who has already won, one who has already overcome, one who has already stepped into the divine flow of unlimited blessings. You do not shrink in this season. You do not apologize for your blessings. You do not question whether you are worthy. You are here because you endured, because you trusted, because you did not give up when the road was difficult. You are here because you believed, because you held on to faith when everything around you told you to let go. And now you see the evidence of what faith can do, of what patience can birth, of what divine timing can manifest. This is not just for a moment. This is not temporary. This is the life you were always meant to live. The struggles you once faced, the pain you once endured, the moments of uncertainty are no longer your reality. They were simply the bridge that brought you here. And now that bridge is behind you. Now you stand firmly in the promise, fully immersed in the manifestation, completely aligned with the divine abundance that has always belonged to you. Hello, anyone who would like to share this light? Please raise your hand. This is Alistair Curry. You do not return to old ways of thinking. You do not entertain old patterns of doubt. You do not step back into smallness. You have seen too much, experienced too much, grown too much to ever shrink again. You move forward in certainty, knowing that this is only the beginning. The abundance you see now is just a glimpse of what is to come. The favor you experience now is just the start of something even greater. The blessings that are unfolding before you are not just for this moment. They are the foundation of a new way of life. You are not limited by what you see now. You are not confined by what has already been given. There is more. There is always more. You do not place restrictions on a limitless source. You do not allow past experiences to dictate future possibilities. You live in a state of constant expansion, constant growth, constant receiving. You do not chase, you do not strive, you do not force. You simply align, you simply receive. You simply trust that what is meant for you flows to you effortlessly. There is no struggle in this new season. There is no fear, no anxiety, no need to control. You move with the assurance of one who knows the truth, that everything is always working in your favor, that even when you do not see it, even when you do not understand it, even when the path ahead is unclear, you are always being guided, always being positioned, always being prepared for something greater. And now you are walking in the reality of that greater. The blessings that are unfolding in your life are not random. They are not coincidences. They are not accidental. They are the direct result of your faith, your patience, your unwavering belief that something greater was always on the way. And now that it has arrived, you embrace it fully. You do not second guess it. Do not question whether it is real. Do not fear that it will be taken away. It is yours, not because you earned it through struggle, but because you aligned yourself with it. You are no longer bound by old limitations. You are no longer trapped by old fears. You are no longer living in the mindset of scarcity. You have stepped into the fullness of abundance, and there is no going back. You do not hold on to past pain. Do not dwell on past mistakes. Do not allow past disappointments to cloud your vision of the future. You have been made new, transformed, elevated into a new way of being, a new level of receiving, a new dimension of living. You see things differently now. You move differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. You no longer wonder if good things are coming. You know they are. You no longer fear that blessings will be temporary. You understand that they are eternal. You no longer think in terms of lack. You live in the frequency of overflow. The life that once felt impossible, the dreams that once seemed out of reach, the visions that once felt distant are now your reality. You no longer hope for them, no longer wish for them, no longer wait for them. You live in them. You walk in them. You embrace them fully, knowing that they were always meant for you. There is nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing incomplete. You have stepped into a season of divine wholeness, divine abundance, divine fulfillment. The doors that were once closed are now open. The opportunities that once seemed unattainable are now presenting themselves freely. The life you once only imagined is now unfolding before you. You do not apologize for this season. You do not feel guilty for receiving. You do not shrink to make others comfortable. You walk boldly, confidently, unapologetically in the fullness of what is yours. You are a living example of what faith can do, of what patience can manifest, of what divine alignment can produce. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. You have not been denied. Everything that is happening now, everything that is unfolding, everything that is flowing into your life is the evidence that you were always chosen, always destined, always called for something greater. And now you are living it. Now you are receiving it. Now you are walking fully in the blessings that were always meant for you. You stand now in the fullness of your destiny, no longer questioning, no longer doubting, but embracing all that was always meant for you. The trials that once seemed unbearable have become the very foundation of your abundance. The struggles that once tested your faith have only strengthened your certainty. Every moment of waiting, every season of hardship, every unanswered question has led you to this place of divine overflow. So walk forward with confidence, knowing that nothing was wasted, that every step was ordered, and that your blessings are not fleeting but eternal. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. No longer hoping, you are knowing. No longer waiting, you are living in the reality of God's promises. The doors are open, the way is clear, and the abundance before you is only the beginning. You have been prepared for this, you have been positioned for this, and now it is time to step fully into the life that was always yours. Receive it with joy, walk in it with gratitude, and know that God's hand is upon you, guiding, blessing, and multiplying all that you touch. This is your time, this is your season, this is the fulfillment of the promise.